Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our weekly market update. Today I have Nikita and Maddie with me. How are we, guys?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. So we've got a lovely summer's week ahead of us with lots of days in the mid-20s and things.
Nice. Great weekend weather-wise too,
Yeah.
which was good.
It was, yeah. And we've been busy decorating the office, so
I only had to twist a few arms.
led by Maddie. Everyone went a bit crazy on Friday afternoon, so if you want to call in and see the office, we're very, very decorated now, so that's including if I move out of the way, you can see giant seats behind us of giant Santa hats on all those seats, and yes, twinkle lights going in the background that you can probably just pick up, and so we've got lots and lots of decorating.
Maddie's probably going to be dressed up most of December as well.
Yes.
So I've got my gingerbread costume.
Yes.
That's how I'll be working until
Random
December.
gingerbread man running up and down the street in the valley somewhere, or driving a car. Might be Maddie, so yeah. Anyway, on to the market. What's been happening in property management?
Lots. We've been very, very busy. So we're down to 14 properties online. So we've been plugging away at them pretty well in the last couple of weeks. So I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that we like to wind down closer to Christmas. So we like to have all of our properties leased by sort of second last week. Or week of, and then we pull them all down, and then we get to actually have a break. So we're hoping that there's none to pull down because they're already leased by that stage. So yeah, down to 14, and we've had a lot more properties in Huonville pop up, which has been good. And because we've had an influx of Huonville brand new builds that are sort of units.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got older properties in Huonville that are actually homes that are popping up.
Oh, cool.
So it's funny how the trends ebb and flow.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Tenant inquiries, we're getting many applications on properties?
More actually in the last probably 2 weeks. So it slowed down a bit. I think applicants were just trying to find the right property, and it's sort of a tenant's market at the moment, so they can afford to be a little bit more picky. But I think people are also trying to wind down and get everything sorted before Christmas. So the last couple of weeks we've had a few more tenant inquiries.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It's time of the year. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And sales, we've had lots of open homes for 2 weekends in a row now, and so we've got lots more coming this weekend. So if everyone's out there and about wanting to look at some properties, there's going to be quite a few open this weekend. So we'll see.
We did 9 this weekend just gone, and it was pretty good number wise.
Yeah.
So it was good weather for it. Yeah, I think the weather definitely helped with that versus the rain. But I've got a fair few coming up this weekend as well. So be sure to look out for those and definitely come and see us.
And quite a few more offers coming in and getting together last week, so still a pretty active market. Really,
even over the weekend, I know Jordan had a couple come in, and I think we've had a couple come in as well. So chatting to vendors this week about those hopefully, and we'll see how we go. But it'd be good to get a couple rolling into the new year.
Yes, so look, there's probably a bit of talk about what the market's like and interest rates and things, but we're still finding there's a lot of people watching the market, just responding to properties that are priced fairly attractively, going really well. Things that are a little bit dear are quite a bit slower. So, buyers are not responding at all if it's a little bit too dear. They don't want to take a risk on things at the moment. So, definitely happy to move and transact and things still if it's about where they feel it should be. But if it's sort of that 5, 10, 20% too much, it's very quiet sort of thing. So we're looking forward to next year. I think we feel like it's been much more active over the last sort of probably 10 weeks than what we've had for a long time. So hopefully that's leading into the typical February, March, April period where there's a fair bit of activity each year. So we'll see what that sort of brings, but
I think just the amount of appraisals we've been doing in the last couple of weeks shows that as well. Like people are getting ready to head into the new year and see what their property is worth. Get all their ducks in a row before they have a little break, and then full steam ahead.
And look, I think that's one thing in both property management sort of side of it, in renting and selling. The amount of properties available is more than we've seen since pre-COVID again now, and those numbers are likely to climb all next year, pushing things back towards probably more of a long-term level. So, like, we've been so low on properties for such a long period of time, there's so many new people to the industry in the last 3 or 4 years that haven't actually experienced like normal levels of stock on the market. So getting back to, like I know in our office and looking at all the other agencies and the volume in the Huon Valley, we're still probably half of what it was in 2013, 14 numbers available in both rent and sale. So it's still got a long way to go to get back to the bad time, I guess, in the market. And same in the early 2000s where the high stock levels are there. So look, it's the amount of listings are happening much more than the amount of sales, and that's what's in the same amount of properties coming up for rent, more than the ones that are being rented every month. So
and I say it all the time, but price point, like you guys are saying, price point in property management makes all the difference. So if you want a good tenant for a long period of time, you're probably going to have to sacrifice on price point a little bit. Or if you want the highest price you could possibly get for a property, you're going to have to sort of give a little on tenant quality, because not everybody can afford to pay the high price point. So just going to have to be a little bit more flexible in this market.
But we are, like, I think I've noticed most of the lease breaks have been on the properties that we achieved a really high price for a year ago when the market was crazy and there was nothing to rent. And now that tenant's in there going, I'm overpaying here, I'm going to break lease here and go into something else at less. And that's sort of, or when the lease runs out, not necessarily breaking, but when that runs out, they're realise that they're in a 550 property that's probably only worth 510 or 520 or something. And so
that's a big topic of conversation when it comes to lease renewals, because I mean, I know all costs have increased. So a landlord's first reaction is to increase rent as well, but just taking into account the fact that if this tenant leaves, if they take good care of your property, fantastic, and if they leave, you're going to have a letting fee to find another great tenant like that. So maybe you could just negotiate on any increase, or maybe no increases in the current market if they're significantly overpaying, to keep a great tenant for a long time.
And
guarantee on the other side, is there?
Yeah, that's right.
No, I fully expect we'll start seeing across the state some rent decreases to keep tenants next year. So, and that's probably been 5 years since we were doing those, so that with any, but I think it'll kind of potentially look at that with certain properties that were leased at the peak. There's still some, and I mean, those costs and things are definitely higher, but from a renting, if we go back 4 or 5 years ago, what the rents were achieving and what the interest rates were and what your costs were, most people are still a decent way in front right now in a comparison. So I think if you've owned that property, probably some of the ones that brought at the peak, and then the interest rates are going up, they're probably the ones that are finding that gap a bit tougher, and the economics of that are not going to work out as well. So that's definitely, but again, we've just been through probably 18 months to 2 years now of the cycle where it's on the downslide from the peak in sort of October 21. So that's 2 and a bit years ago now. So we're sort of, already, like if you look at a typical 10-year cycle, we're already 2 years into it sort of thing. And so I'd say we're probably in the bottom of the level bit before there's an increase period. So, no, look, I think it's just, sometimes you can take a 5 or 10 year view, but you don't need to panic, where a lot of people are looking at the 6 month view all the time and it's going to be bad here or it's going to be good here or that, rather than actually looking at, well, if you reflect on what it was rented for 5 years ago, or what it might get in 5 years time and that sort of thing, and you sort of sometimes makes a bit more sense, but keep rambling. Better let you all get on with your Monday, and we'll go and show some houses and see you next week.
Enjoy the sunshine.